want to be away from maids and menus and all the domestic duties that eat away at a woman's life, that make it so difficult to work at her art. We aren't allowed closed doors, the way men are. Pablo returns his gaze to his own image in the mirror and studies it, drawing the razor through the white foam on his cheek and making a curve, olive flesh showing through a white background. Another work of art. "Hurry up and get dressed," he says. "Olga won't give me a divorce, you know that." "So you have said for years. Perhaps it is very convenient, having a wife who lives separately and keeps you from marrying any other woman." He throws a wet towel at me. "Get up. The car will be here soon." Listen to you, my love. A car, a chauffeur. I remember when you had holes in your boots, when you were my young love. That was long ago, and he's not a chauffeur, he's my son. Yes, much has changed. I roll over and light a cigarette, and the sheet falls away from my naked breasts. I see where his eyes are, and they are not on my face, so I lift my shoulders and give my breasts a gentle push. He grins. Gazes from Pablo are like brushstrokes. Some are long, lingering, full of texture and pigment. Some are short, shallow, even accidental. His gaze on me now falls somewhere between the two. Once, his gaze would have found enough for an entire painting. He would have seen flesh and the bone and muscle under the flesh, the question or certainty of the eyes. He would have seen past, present, and future, and painted them in a way that made time irrelevant. Yes, that was how he painted me. Everything and at once, all the angles and geometry of the body, and he made of me something eternal and always beautiful. That is what an artist can do for a woman. When most men looked at me, all I saw in their faces was desire, the urge to possess. When Pablo looked at me, his face filled with wonder, waiting to be translated to lines and brushstrokes. Spring, the second year of the Great War. I wasn't 20 yet, and had returned from cold, starving Moscow, where a loaf of bread cost as much as a silk dress. My protector, the Russian Grand Duke, had taken to sitting in his garden under the bare, despairing trees and wringing his hands. He sensed his own ruination approaching. Most of the old aristocracy did. I did not care enough for him to face ruination with him. Back to Paris for me. When Pablo first saw me, I was sitting on the rim of the Wallace Fountain in Place Émile, face turned up to the sun like a basking cat, enjoying the fine day and wondering what adventure I might find, and if my new love would be a man or a woman, and if they would have anything good to eat. It was early summer. I had stolen a bunch of cherries at Les Halles and a roll, but my stomach rattled. I still had a fur cape I could sell, but I would need that for winter. I had a pearl necklace, but it looked so pretty on me that I could not part with it, not even for a good meal. Pablo found me. I opened my eyes, and there he was, this little handsome Spaniard with the black eyes, staring at me as if he had never seen a woman before. I looked behind me to make sure there was nothing in the fountain capturing his attention like that, but no, he was looking at me. I sat up straighter and turned my face slightly to show off the better side. Pablo and his friends had just finished lunch. I could smell the rosemary of a stew on their breaths. But while his friends were sloppy with cheap wine, Pablo was sober as a stone. "Come with me," said this boy man, extending his hand. "I will not. Why should I?" I took a step backward, pretended I was not interested. "Because I will paint you and make you live forever." He stepped closer and put his arm around my waist. "Before or after bed?" I laughed, leaning away from him. I had no objection to bed, but I had just left a Grand Duke who gave me pearls before breakfast. Why take up with this fellow, an artist, judging by the paint under his nails, who probably hadn't a sou to his name? I stepped out of his embrace and walked away, but we both knew something had begun. Did he follow me, or did I follow?